you build bridges, you shape them. What is the moment when you see an artist and you know you have found the gem or someone you need and you should invest in?
You succeed is probably when the emotional quotient gets with the IQ. I don't think I'm a businesswoman. I'm Andrée, and I can recognize who has his heart on the right spot and who has not.
If tomorrow you were offered a front row seat at one of the biggest world art fairs, or the chance to quietly discover a new talent, unknown talent, but a genius, what would you choose?
There is no reason to choose. Both of them are pairing.
أندريه سفير، أهلا وسهلا فيك معنا بهالبودكاست وبهالحديث من الحديث مع ريكاردو كرم. أنا كتير سعيد إن عم بلتقي فيك. أنت أيقونة في المشهد الثقافي الفني بلبنان، بالعالم العربي وفي أوروبا. هذا العام تحتفلي ب40 سنة على تأسيس الجاليري صفير-زملر. طبعا 40 سنة مرقوا بسرعة، بس 40 سنة كان في شغل كتير وعمل دؤوب. أنت فضلت تكون هالمقابلة باللغة الإنجليزية، وأنا طبعا الحرضخ لطلبك. 40 years. 40 years. That's longer than some of your artists have been alive. When you think about 1985, the opening of your first gallery, what would the young Andrée imagine success would be like? And was the reality different from what you imagined?
First of all, many thanks for inviting me. I've been looking at you and looking at what you're doing yourself, and I highly respect you and thank you very much for talking to me. I started indeed the gallery in 1985. I had just finished my PhD and I had a little child. My husband was working at German TV in the middle of nowhere, in Kiel, in the very north of Germany. And I had a call to become a professor at the university in Berlin, but refused because I really wanted to be with my family. And there was nothing to do in Kiel, in the middle of nowhere. It's a city by the water, by the Baltic Sea, and with 300,000 inhabitants. So I jumped in the cold water, not of the sea, but of whatever could become, had no experience whatsoever in commerce or in the contemporary art scene. I had worked only in archives and in universities. And in fact, it was fun since then. It never stopped being fun, and it never stopped being a mission. It's not a job, it's not a profession, it's really a mission. It is
a purpose.
It's the way that imports to me, not the aim. And every day is important. Whatever you start doing at 7 a.m. is important. Even when you talk to the transport company. And I am a control freak. It's perhaps the reason why things worked out, because I control everything from A to Z. Even today, we grew bigger, but I'm still controlling everything, and my team gets nervous about it. Not nervous, they're all perfect, they're all lovely, they're all wonderful, and they work their ass off. But because I just want the comma after the word to be correct, and perfection is our aim. And this is probably why it worked out.
It did not only work out. You have excelled and you have outshined and embraced this huge success. Andrée Sfeir, you left Lebanon in 1975, and 3 decades later, you returned to Lebanon with your gallery. What was the most emotional moment you have witnessed through that return and come back?
Whenever I take a plane and come to Beirut, I have tears in my eyes when I'm landing. And Lebanon is in my DNA, and I'm getting emotional. Can you cut?
We don't have to.
And in fact, I wanted to give back whatever I got from this country. It's a beautiful country, and it's a very ugly country. It's a country with amazing moments and with awful moments. But we love it, and I love it. It is part of myself and of my DNA. There is a word in German that says Heimat. Heimat is not home country. Heimat is whatever you feel for a place, for your roots. It can't be translated. This is why they use it even in English, I learned. It is something that takes you all over. I can live in Germany a lot longer than I've ever lived in Lebanon. And this country vibrates in me a lot more than anything in Germany. Even though I'm so thankful for whatever the German gave me. I mean, they adopted me. I don't know if you learned or you know, but I was awarded this year, and it's going to be given to me in November. And all the news, Deutschlandfunk, WDR, all newspapers are reporting that I got the prize of the Art Cologne and of the association, the German Association for Art and Art Dealing. And I mean, thank you, Germany. This is where I studied. I learned perfection from them. I learned punctuality from them. I learned the strength of being always very, very precise from the German. It's not كل شيء رح يمشي رح نظبطها كله ماشي. It's always the control of the control of the control. And I think this is the solution to success.
You mentioned the word I wanted to give back to Lebanon. What did Lebanon give you?
Everything.
You mentioned your DNA, the pride you have from belonging to this land, the love you have for everything that is Lebanese. But let's be pragmatic and see things as they are. What did it nurture within you? What did Lebanon feed you with?
Love. Family. Lebanon is my family. And it gave me, I feel strong because I have something in me that this country gave me. Perhaps I had to fight to survive. I was born and the war started straight. It never stopped. Think of 1967, think of 1958. We always had struggles around us. We always had problems around us. And I very early on became very political. And I very early on started fighting. I was thrown out of 3 schools because I engaged with the Communist Party at that time and organized with the school when I was 13. And with my friend Marie-Claude Saïd, we organized at Lycée de Garçons a walk in the school, and we walk out to just fight for human rights,
social
for our
justice.
rights as Lebanese. And this is probably what Lebanon gives you. It gives you the strength to walk through. I mean, look at the languages every Lebanese speak. Whenever a Lebanese gets somewhere, they learn the language, they start speaking the language of their country. I wrote my PhD in German. I didn't speak a word of German when I went to Germany and in my 20s. Lebanon gives you a universal way to walk through every road.
Your academic journey took you from Beirut. You are in a UB student. Then you went to the Sorbonne, and then you went to Germany. And of course, Pierre Bourdieu had a lot of impact on you. My question is, how did this mix of intellectual and artistic training shape your personality and your vision as both an art historian and an art gallerist?
I started as an artist. Wanted to become a filmmaker. When I went to AUB, as I went to the Fine Arts Department, I was awarded the Fulbright Scholarship, and then I met my husband in the summertime and applied for DAD and got the DAD, which is the German Deutsche Akademische Austauschdienst. It's a very prestigious scholarship in Germany. And I learned German, left to Germany, and studied in Germany. And the reason why you succeed is probably when the emotional quotient gets with the IQ. It's not only about intellectuality. You have to engage with people. And we Lebanese are very open people. We go towards people. And we give before we receive. And this is probably the reason. You exchange with everyone, and you're always so generous of yourself. And this is what happens with my artists. I'm so committed to my artists and give them every minute of my day and of my life. I mean, it is probably the reason why you succeed. It's not only the intellectuality, it's not enough. You have to be warm with people, you have to open your heart and your soul to everyone. I mean, many think I am arrogant, but I'm not. Many persons who come to an art fair say they don't dare talking to me because I'm arrogant.
You know that?
I know that. I heard it many times. But it's not an arrogance. It's probably because you know how to distinguish between the real people and the wrong people. And unfortunately, the bad side of the Lebanese is that we have many around us who are not true people, who don't listen to their deep inner self, who try to manage their person, to manage what they call their business. I've never had a business. I don't think I'm a businesswoman. What I am is a person. I'm Andrée, and I can recognize who has his heart on the right spot and who has not. And this is probably the reason also. For example, once at Art Basel, a person comes to the booth, and I asked the person if he was the assistant of a colleague who was talking to me, and he said, "ولو أنا كذا وما بتعرفيني أنا كل لبنان بيعرفني." And he had العظامة فيه كله. And I didn't know the person. بيقول لي أنت ما بتعرفي حدا، بيجي على الجاليري لعندك ما بتسلمي علي. But this is not the point. Perhaps I would greet him if it would be normal and modest, but I don't like it when people just put their pride on the face and on the shoulders. I like it better when the intellectuality surveils. For example, when you call the director of MoMA, Glenn Laurie, an amazing person, I send him a WhatsApp, he answers the minute. We were at Art Basel honoring Walid Raad, one of our artists, the reason I came to Lebanon, in fact. And he had a big dinner, and I told him, we're showing Walid, and he's here, and we're having an intimate dinner for Walid. He dropped his important dinner and joined us for dinner. This is how the really big people are.
The grand people.
The grand people, you got the right word.
Andrée, many gallerists represent artists. You don't do that. You are known for discovering artists. You know, on my way to this podcast, a friend of mine called me, and I was telling her I'm interviewing Andrée. And she said, you know, she has an eye nobody has. You just mentioned now your willingness when you were young to be a filmmaker. And that sense, and that lens and that eye did never abandon you. The way you look at things, you link the work of your artist to the world. You bring them to the whole world. You build bridges and you shape them. What is the moment, that precise instant when you see an artist and you know you have found the gem or someone you need and you should invest in?
I look, and I look again. And I look with my eyes. I never look with my ears. I never listen to whatever someone tells me. And I control and control and control again. I don't jump into things. I just observe before taking on. Sometimes too long and I lose the opportunity, but most of the time it worked out. And you recognize quality only in comparison. I mean, I'm an elderly lady now, and I've been to so many museums. And when I walk through museums, I do not walk through the museum. I stop in front of every work, and I look at details, at precision. And when I walk into a space, I recognize from afar if it is a Michelangelo, let's say, or someone from the school of Michelangelo, because of the training. I mean, il faut forger pour devenir forgeron. I mean, you need to control yourself on and on again, and you learn to compare because you've seen a lot. I mean, the point is, before starting working in the Arab world, and when I started working in Kiel, I thought no one knows me. So I started representing very important artists, and I was so naive that I would call very important people and say, I've opened a gallery in Kiel, do you want to show with me? And it was so damn naive, I wouldn't be able to do it today. I mean, and would travel like to Edinburgh, would go see a person like Ian Hamilton Finlay, who is known for being the most important conceptual British artist, Scottish in fact he is. I arrive there and I tell him, I want to show you. When you go to people this way, they accept. So I started showing very important artists, and I learned working with them. They were like my grandfathers and mothers. And when I got to the point when I started working with artists of the Arab world, all of a sudden I was the mother, no longer the granddaughter. And I could compare to the big people I had met before. This made it easier to recognize talents. And one artwork doesn't make an artist. It is the number and the expression of the work that makes a big artist.
Andrée, you have worked with legendary names. Etel Adnan, Samia Halabi, to name few, of course, big names like Walid Raad and many more definitely. And you have championed younger artists. And you made out of them, because of their talent, of course, big names as well. How different is your approach when guiding big names and when nurturing young talents, young voices?
You might remember that when we started showing Etel Adnan, no one knew her as a painter. She was very known as a writer. And the work we put into people, we rediscover. Arif Reyes. When we put work in people, we rediscover Samia Halabi. Let her talk to you next week and tell you how life has changed for her. I think grand artists need advocates, and need advocates who are able to convince, who are so convinced themselves that you believe them. It's like in faith. It's like when you go to the church and talk to a priest. You need to convince people of the work of an artist. Talking Samia Halabi, they had cancelled. She was dreaming of a big show in the States, and last minute they did cancel at the museum of the university she went to. They had cancelled her show because of her engagement for her home country, Palestine. And I told her, don't you worry, we'll get better. Because she was destroyed. And now MoMA is showing her. Now Tate Modern gave her a huge presentation in the fall. And Guggenheim is looking at her. Metropolitan Museum is, I mean, we couldn't hit higher, right? So the way you do things, be it for a young artist or for an elderly artist, is to be able to convince of the quality. And if you have high-end quality, you don't need to fear anything. Because when you look, for example, at last year, the Venice Biennial, who were the most successful artists? The queue in front of Walid Raad, who was representing Egypt in Venice Biennial, and we did everything without Egypt because there was no Egypt around. They gave him the pavilion and disappeared. They had no money, no manpower, nothing. And Wael made such an incredible film, and every edition of this film was bought by the main museums. Stedelijk Museum Amsterdam bought a work. Guggenheim bought the film. Guggenheim bought the film. SF MoMA, Modern Museum of Art in New York. I mean, we sold the film only to museums. And the queue in front of the pavilion was around the building. Everyone was speaking only about that film. This means when you have trends, we never compromised on quality. Our aim was never selling. Our aim was always highest and most beautiful quality.
In 40 years, Andrée Sfeir, what was the boldest risk you've taken on an artist that truly paid off?
I need to think, because all of them are so incredible, and all of them, I don't want to miss anyone. And they're all coming next week to celebrate with us. All of them. And it is like in the Bible. When you read in the Bible, if one of the 99 are there and one is missing, you think of the one who is missing. Our artists are the facets of a diamond. I mean, each of them is so different from the other, and this is the beauty of our stable. We have like running horses, and each of them run in a separate way. They're not alike. Every single artist of our, you named several early a minute ago, and each of them is of highest end quality, and their expression is so completely different from the expression of each other. Mm-hmm. And this is what always variety. I love varieties. Therefore, I wouldn't choose two artists who are alike. It would be boring.
Andrée, conceptual and political art is not an easy sell in this part of the world, in the region. Have you ever been told this will never work, and you have proved to them that they were wrong?
Well, yes, I've been told on and on again that things would not work. Also, when I opened the gallery in Beirut, everyone told me, are you crazy to open a gallery in Beirut? And we did open, as we saw later on, the first white cube in the whole Arab world, or before the Gulf started. No risk, no fun is easy to say, but we gave them the chance and the possibility to express themselves in 1,000 square meter space. So, and we we work very closely with our artists. I work very closely. Yesterday evening, I was working with a South African artist who will be coming next week, Dineo Bopape. Her awards are a long, long list. And we discussed very intensively what she is going to do in Beirut, because we discuss and push as much as possible in order to get out of them the best of the best. And we work closely also in the conceptual on the conceptual level. And when you have brilliant artists, when the brain comes first and the heart pairs with the brain, this is when an artist becomes grand. Because if you take someone who's skillful, it's not about being able to be skillful and to make miracles with a pencil or something. It's about the deepness of the work. A work must have many, many layers. And each of our artists is very engaged socially and politically. Look at Laurence Abu Hamdan. He advises Amnesty International. So when you look at these people who are working before expressing or creating an artwork, they conceive the artwork because art doesn't live and exist under a glass. It is part of a society. It's part of a cultural context. And when you take an artwork that expresses and reflects about the society and the city and the country of their time, you can't but succeed.
Talking about this deepness you've just mentioned now, that brings me to a question about the cultural dialogue and about the global platforms. You are all over the place. You participate, and you've always participated in the biggest art fairs worldwide. And you have dealt a lot, and you've partnered with the biggest museums, whether the Metropolitan Museum in New York, whether San Francisco Museum of Modern Art. My question is, what does it take to bring voices from the Arab world to those specific platforms without losing the authenticity of that work?
It's a very good question. The work of an artist that must be anchored in his or her own society and her own roots, but must be relevant universally. It must have a universal relevance. And this is, I think, the solution and the reason. When Walid Raad speaks about the Lebanese civil war and the museum in Berlin, the Hamburger Bahnhof, buys the whole installation, it is because his work, even if he's speaking about the Lebanese civil war, is relevant to another war. But because it is specific, it gets the quality it needs.
Your gallery bridges Hamburg and Beirut, Europe and the Arab world. What is the most surprising misconception each side has about the other side?
I must say that it is very complicated to be in those two very different countries and to work in two very different societies. Bridging is a beautiful word, but it's a very tough thing. Because when I am here, for example, I long for the qualities in Hamburg. When I get to Hamburg, I long for whatever makes Beirut. It's very complicated. It's as if you would have drawers in yourself. You must close the one drawer and open the other in order to be able to get the tools needed to address other societies with the one and only artwork you have in your hand. It's not an easy take, but it does work most of the time.
Andrée, when you place a Middle Eastern artist in a major Western museum, what changes for them, for you, and for the narratives about our region?
This is what will remain. History is about testimony. And whatever we leave in important institutions is the testimony of our time and of our country. And this is why when I place a work in an important collection, it's to me a lot more important than the money we get out of it. Of course, money is important. We wouldn't function, we wouldn't be able to have exhibitions the quality we have without the money. But money is only the vehicle. The aim is the important museum, and the aim is leaving the historical testimony of our part of the world and of our time, part, and the socio-geographical context. I mean, we're living in wars in Lebanon. I see the gallery as an oasis. It's not related to any of the parties of this country. It's not related to any religion. I have artists from all religions. In fact, I never ask them what religion are they from, because they're all, freedom is the most precious thing to each of them. And religion and belonging, the term of belonging to a certain party doesn't interest them at all. And I think that this is what makes our success with them. It is because when the curator, Jean-Marc Prévost, wrote me on the 14th of July, Liberté, égalité, fraternité, je lui ai dit, freedom, liberté avant tout. And this is what probably is the most Lebanese element in us. This is why we are so chaotic in our country. And when we get outside, our freedom gives us wings. When we get back here, the wings just touch in all directions and we can't fly anymore.
It brings chaos.
Yeah, totally.
Andrée, 40 years in, for 40 years, you have led by example. You have been at the top. You have reached the summit. And there are younger, and not even younger, other gallerists who compare themselves to you. How do you respond? Honestly,
I don't know.
And diplomatically.
I don't know who compares himself to us, but أهلا وسهلا.
You always say us, you don't say to me.
No, because I mean, without my team and my artists, who am I?
Beautiful.
Nobody.
What is the one quality that gives you unicity and that you believe nobody can replicate, nobody can acquire, no matter how hard they try?
They can. There are many other brilliant persons around us. I think discipline is also super important. Discipline. And as I told you, it's not the aim, it's the road. It's when I opened the gallery in 2005 in Beirut, I said a sentence, and I think this was the most important sentence I said in my talk at that time. I said, we opened today in 2005, they just killed Hariri. The streets, there are car bombs in the streets. But we're not opening for 3 days. We're opening to make a long way and to open the road to the artists we will work with all over the world. And this is the reason we succeeded. It is the everyday discipline. We don't stop. I mean, when on August 4th, the gallery was totally destroyed, we rebuilt. We started again and we continued. This is the reason why we succeed, because we don't stop. When our works are stuck at customs, because they estimate whatever numbers they imagine in their heads, and we don't send the work back to Kuwait, We keep on talking to them until we get the works out of customs. And believe me, it's not easy here because there is nothing functioning. We don't have a real government. I hope this non-corrupt government will help us out of everything, but we don't have electricity. The basics don't exist. Therefore, it's a tough thing to manage a gallery here in Lebanon.
Nothing is tough for you.
Well, yes.
And nothing is difficult for you. You make the impossible possible. Andrée, do you think today the arts world produces more threats than true artists?
I was told at Art Basel lately in June that we were one of the very few galleries who engages and not decorates. We don't decorate apartments. We don't have domestic stuff. We try to make a difference and to create culture and to create bindings and fundaments of culture. This is why it reflects when people come to our booth, they understand that we're not here to just yet sell another beautiful painting for above the sofa. That's not our aim. And when we show, we gave a lot of room this year to the Palestinian because they are in such a tough situation. When you show olive-cut trunks from Khalil Rabah in a booth in Basel, and every curator would tell you, these trunks are like organs, they are like cut arms, but it's only, there were only olive tree trunks. But those olive tree trunks are so strong that they translate without words. And our work is not, and we're not a newspaper, attention, we're not a publishing house, we are not a broadcasting company. We do show art, so the quality of the artwork. And this is probably also the main answer to what you asked me earlier on. The most important thing is the quality of the artwork. It must be beautiful, impactful, strong, and then comes the message. But in order to make it, the message was in the head, but the artwork must be over every level. Because, I mean, we are the one and only gallery in Art Basel from the Arab world for a reason, because the quality of what we do is probably at the highest level of the art situation today in the world. And I believe it, and I know it is.
Andrée, if the Sfeir-Semler Art Gallery were an artwork itself, what would it be? What support would it be? And why?
Well, it is an artwork because it is what it contains. The artist it represents are art. So it is not a space or an institution cannot be an artwork itself, but it can facilitate the way to artists, and it can facilitate and spread whatever the artist has in his mind. And it's tough work. You work at all levels with an artist. You don't only work about the artwork, you also take care of the artist all around his person as well, because you work with humans, right? And one colleague who I highly respect, Daniel Buchholz, was walking across my booth in Basel, and he told him, "Why are you so obsessed?" He said, "You know why? In my next life, I'm going to open Clinique Daniel Buchholz, not Gallery Daniel Buchholz, because you have to take care of the persons who are highly sensitive and highly, each of them is so self-conscious and doesn't always interact with others, and you have to take care of everything, of all facets."
Time is running. I still have few questions I'd love to tackle with you. What do you want people to remember more? The artist you have launched, you have supported, you have advocated, or more the bridges you have built?
People don't know about the bridges we are building because they are invisible. People will remember our artists because they are all over.
If you could give away one artwork from your private collection to Lebanon, to the future of Lebanon, what would it be?
A message. It would be a message of honesty, a message of freedom, and a message of real love, not superficial love.
You have made artists turn into stars. But have you ever made a mistake? Have you ever believed in an artist and you've been disappointed? Have you ever backed someone to reach somewhere, the sky, and he wasn't worth it?
Yes,
and if
of
it
course.
happened?
Of course you make mistakes.
Yeah.
Of course you make mistakes. Of course you start working with artists when you pick young and they don't fulfill the qualities you have expected.
What did you learn out of that experience?
I mean, when you start with young artists who have nothing on their diary yet, for sure, it happens that you don't pick the right. And some weddings last a lifetime, some others last a month. And this happens. But the number of artists we missed on is much less than the number of artists we succeeded with.
If tomorrow you were offered a front row seat at one of the biggest world art fairs, or the chance to quietly discover a new talent, unknown talent, but a genius, what would you prefer? What would you choose?
There is no reason to choose. Both of them are pairing.
But you have to pick one.
Why? I wouldn't pick. I would take both.
The last question. In an art world full of egos, full of animosity, what keeps Andrée Sfeir-Semler grounded?
Well, I often face aggressivities and people trying to fight us and to put us aside. And I'm sure many want us to disappear because they want to take the place, because you know yourself, you're not surrounded only by people who love you. And I have a character which is not an easy one and which pushes to divisions sometimes and often. Well, you need to deal with it and you need to keep going. And I was told once there is an Indian idiom that says, sit by the river and wait that the cadaver passes by. And that's what I do when people aggresses us and stop us from certain things. Most of the time regulates the stuff, because if your intention is deeply good and you don't care about who did what and what did they say about what, I think you survive these things easy.
In this podcast, we always end up with two reflections or two little questions. Who do you thank mostly in your life?
My husband, Walid.
And to whom do you say, I'm sorry?
To Uli.
I send him my best personal regards. Andrée Sfeir, it was great having you. Thank you so much. Happy 40th anniversary to Sfeir-Semler Gallery. Please keep on shining and keep on carrying the colors of Lebanon with noblesse and with grace. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ricardo.
إلى اللقاء.